For question 2, we have a plane that contains points A, B, C, and D, and the points A, B, C, and D form a parallelogram. So for part A, we need to find the coordinates of D. So draw a parallelogram, and remember that when you label the vertices of this parallelogram, it must either be in clockwise rotation or anti-clockwise rotation only. So let's say I'm gonna do it in this rotation, in this order. So let's label point A is 1, 1, 1, point B is 3, 2, negative 1, point C is 1, negative 4, and D. So our aim is to find the coordinate of point D. So this one right here is the length of AC. So I can have a midpoint in the middle of AC, which will divide the length of AC into 2. I can also find the length of BD, and note that the midpoint of BD will be somewhere in the middle, and it will separate or divide the length BD into 2. So from here, we can see that the midpoint of AC is the same as the midpoint of BD. So we can use this to find the coordinate of D. Since we need to find coordinate D, I'm gonna give the coordinate D is X, Y, and Z. So let's try and find midpoint of BD first. So this is coordinate B, and this is coordinate D. The midpoint is in the middle. So this means that the X coordinate of this midpoint will be half of the sum of the X coordinate of B and D. So it will be 3 plus X divided by 2. The same goes for the Y coordinate of this midpoint. It will be the half of the sum of 2 and Y. So it is 2 plus Y divided by 2, and the same goes for the Z coordinate of this midpoint. It will be the half of negative 1 plus Z. So that's how you find the midpoint of BD. Next, we're gonna do the same thing for midpoint of AC. This is coordinate A, this is coordinate C. So let's do for the X coordinate of this midpoint using A and C. So for X, it's gonna be 1 plus 1 divided by 2. For Y coordinate, it will be 1 plus negative 4 divided by 2. And for Z, it will be 1 plus 2 divided by 2. So now we can compare the midpoint of AC with the midpoint of BD. So for the X coordinate, it is this one. And when you solve it, X is negative 1. And for the Y coordinate, it will be these two, which will give us Y equal to negative 5. And for Z, it is these two, which will give us Z equal to 4. So that's how we find the coordinate of D. Since point D is X, Y, and Z, which is negative 1, negative 5, positive 4. Next, for part B, we need to find the area of the parallelogram ABCD. So note that for the area of parallelogram, it is the magnitude of a vector product. So since we already know the coordinate of D, which is negative 1, negative 5, and 4, we can use any three of these points to do vector product. So let's say I want to use AD cross with AB. And we'll get 9i plus 2j plus 10k. And finally, we need to find the magnitude of AD cross AB in order to find the area of the parallelogram ABCD. So it will be the square root of 9 square plus 2 square plus 10 square, which is the square root of 185 unit square or 13.60 unit square.